Ladies and gentlemen, it is my esteemed pleasure to welcome you to yet another amazing episode of Innovators and Impact, where we bring you a titan of the industry, someone that has made a substantial impact on their particular trade or industry, and this episode is no different. It is my esteemed and honored pleasure to welcome you, our guest today. He is who you should think about when you think about luxury real estate. He is the man to call when you want to make an impact in one of the greatest investments you will ever make in your life. I speak of none other than Mr. Private Island, Mr. Private Jet, luxury real estate man himself, Mr. Gavin Christie. Welcome to the show, Gavin. How you doing?
Good, man. Morning. And thank you for such a illustrious introduction. But happy to be here and happy to sit down and chop it up with you and happy to be on the show.
Awesome, and it's great to have you. So, Gavin, I've had the pleasure of knowing you for a little while now. But for some of the people that are watching that may not know who you are, could you please just give us an appreciation for who Gavin Christie is?
Yeah, so of course. So, as I said, my name is Gavin Christie. I am the managing partner at Corcoran CA Christie, which is one of the oldest and premier real estate firms located in Nassau, Bahamas. My background as well, I've been in the space now, believe it or not, for 17 plus years in the real estate space. And I started out from the bottom and had a very, very clear vision from day one where I wanted to be. And like anything I do, if I decide to do it, I want to be the best or one of the best. And I've worked every day for 17 plus years, to be considered one of the top luxury brokers, within the Bahamas.
Awesome. So, when you were a little boy running around playing in the yard, was this always your vision to get into luxury real estate?
No, not at all. So my dream and my goal as a young boy growing up always was to be a professional soccer player. Anyone who knows me knows that soccer has been my passion from day one. And I started playing at the age of five, and still play to today. And I only had one dream. That dream wasn't to finish school. That dream wasn't to be a lawyer. That dream wasn't to be a doctor. It wasn't to be in real estate. And that dream was to play soccer or football, as I call it, at the highest level. I was fortunate enough to play for the national team. I played at a high level via college, and then at a young age, I moved to Europe, where I played a number of years bouncing around professional in a number of the European leagues.
Yeah. So well, first of all, I'm a soccer man myself, so I could definitely admire that.
You have a team?
Wait, let's not ruffle any feathers today. Let's just say I'm a Messi fan,
right?
But
Okay.
I'm a Barcelona.
Okay.
Barcelona's my
Good
team.
choice. Good team. Good team.
What about you?
United, all the way.
Man U?
Yeah, Man U.
Great team. That's my team for the Prem.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So going from professional soccer, what was that transition like? How did you go from being a little boy dreaming to be a professional soccer player and having the opportunity to play professionally? How did you go from that to real estate?
Well, I was living in Czech Republic and playing at a high level there. And I remember it like it was yesterday. We were in the winter season, so it was freezing cold. As you know, Europe, and not just Europe, but Czech Republic during the winter gets really, really cold. And I was sitting in my flat in Prague, and looking out the window in the snow and dreading that I had to go to train in this weather. And it was towards the end of the season, and I was excited because within a few weeks we had a break, and we were coming home a break for Christmas, and so I knew I was coming home, but I started to think about what's next. So I was bouncing around Europe for a few years, and was doing well, and I was making good money. But at that time, as you know, I was living in Eastern Europe, and at that time I was getting paid in crowns, and at that time, $1 was 32 crowns, and so I started to think and analyze. I said, listen, I could stay in Eastern Europe and live like a king for the rest of my life, but what if I want to move to New York? What if I want to move to Miami? What if I want to move to the Bahamas? And I said, well, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to sustain the lifestyle that I would like.
Right.
And so therefore I started to think, but what's next? What's the next step? And so I started doing some research, looking around, started making some calls. And when I came home for my Christmas break, it's just so funny enough that there was a development company that a friend of mine had started, and he called and said, listen, I understand you're home for a couple of weeks. We're launching a development, and we need some boots on the ground and some people. Would you mind coming in and working, for a few weeks when you're here? And so I said, yeah, no problem. I'm going to be home, nothing to do. And so I'm just relaxing. And so I came and I worked, and that was kind of my first experience into the real estate, and it was on the development side. And that's when I started to say, wow, this is interesting. It's cool. We were learning about development from the ground up. And I started to see that this could be a potential opportunity.
Talk to me a little bit about, let's transition to real estate now. So can you tell me a little bit about the early days? I know they say real estate is tough,
Right.
Tough market to tap into.
Yeah.
You would have had the opportunity to enter a little earlier than others, some might say. So what kind of, for lack of a better word, what kind of challenges have you seen starting off, and how were we able to overcome them making that transition?
Yeah, so my early days in real estate were, as I said, it was not easy. I started completely at the bottom. When I started with my firm, I remember the first day, my desk, to give an example, the desk that I had, because at the time we were in a smaller office, the desk I had I had a little corner within the reception.
Wow.
So I had a little cubbyhole corner, within the reception of our office, because all the other agents who were the big agents at that time had all the big offices, the nice offices. And when I came, there wasn't much space. And I said, well, as long as I have a space, I'm happy. For me, I saw that that's an opportunity, and I realized that I had knowledge, I had this principle in my mind of applying the principles from my professional career into my professional business career and my real estate career, but which was good, but I still needed to understand the real estate space and the real estate knowledge, right? And so I started to study, I started to read, I started to Google, I started to look at social media and what other persons were doing, just to start to learn and take information in, real estate information in. I started to consume information.
Yeah.
And then what I did, I said, I said, Gavin, you have energy, you have all these principles and all that, but you don't have the knowledge. And so what's the easiest way to learn? I said, well, partner with somebody who has the knowledge. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. And so I went to the top broker at my firm at that time, and I said, listen, as you know, I'm new. I'm interested in the space. You appear to do very well in this space, and I want to learn. And I said, if you're okay, I want to take on a lot of help you with your load. Let me do some of the heavy lifting, so you can spend more time doing what you do best, and that's selling luxury real estate. And I said, but you know what, I'll do the grunt work. So I'll do the paperwork, I'll do the contracts, I'll write the offers. I'll go open up the house to make sure. I'll go to the house, 20 minutes before the client comes to turn on the lights, turn on the AC, make sure it's cool. And I said, and all big agents love that, So I was almost like a PA to these agents, and that's how I started to learn, And so I started to learn. I started to listen to the lingo, listen how they, I watched what they did, when they arrived to their appointments. How do they deal? How do they greet their clients? What did they tell their clients? What information were they giving to their clients? How they conducted the showings. Then I started to do the contracts, and of course, so I had to learn that first. So they kind of taught me, how do you write the offers? What do you need to do? What's the process? How to deal with the lawyers? And so I started doing all of the grunt work for these bigger agents. And in terms of me, and I told them, I said, listen, I don't want a dime. You don't have to pay me a thing. I just need information, And I started, so I just consumed. And at that same time, I was learning, and so, and as I learned, then I started to apply. And you started small, and then, and you just started moving up the ladder one step at a time.
So tell me, how do you go from your first year just figuring things out to now transitioning to the next step and the next step and the next step, and then eventually becoming now the managing partner at Corcoran CA Christie?
So when I started the business, when I got into business 17 years ago, everyone I told, I knew some other people that were in the business. I would speak with them. How's this business? How's it treat you? How do you do? Are you making money? Is it well? Are you bringing sales? Kind of paint me a picture. 99% of them said that you don't start making money until at least 3 years into the business. And I looked at them and I said, F that, I don't have 3 years, that I am the complete opposite. I said, don't, and that was that. The minute when people tell me no, I said, well, no, that I don't. First of all, especially if I don't believe it, I said, no, there's no way I'm going to wait 3 years to start making money. If I'm working and putting my energy in it, I need to start making money, and I need to start making money now. So that was my mentality coming into it, and so from day one, I hit the ground running, and I said, hey, these people are telling me it's going to take 3 years. I said, I'm going to do this. I need a check next week, and so that was my mentality. And so I jumped in, I hit the ground running, and I started doing everything possible, looking for opportunities, trying to find clients. And one of the funny stories, what I did, and I don't think I've ever told anyone this, my first 3 months into the business, and the business is about you need database, you need clients, and I started business. I had no clients. I didn't know anybody. I was young. Most of my friends was at the bar drinking. They weren't thinking about buying real estate.
Yeah.
So one night I went home. I went home to my parents' house, and it was late that night, and I went onto my dad's computer. Right, I found out his password. I went on his computer, and I stole every single contact out of his computer. I downloaded every single one, his entire database. Right, put it on a jump drive. Never told him I stole it, and then that week, I went back to my office and I said, okay, I got a database of I don't know, it might have been 1,000, 2,000 people, right? And I sent out an email to the entire database, introducing myself as a luxury advisor in the Bahamas, and I started getting all this email back. Are you Gary Christie's son? And I started getting all these emails back from all these people who I had no clue who they were, but they were in my dad's database, and they started emailing back, and so, oh, we haven't seen him in years. How's he doing? And this, and I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm trying to sell you real estate, you know. And but funny enough, and out of that database, I got a lead, a very good lead.
Nice.
And that was kind of how my first sale above $1 million came out of a stolen database from my father. Funny story.
At Lifestyles Digital Media Group, we specialize in creating compelling corporate content that enhances your internal and external communication efforts.
Our clients come from a cross-section of industries such as banking and finance, healthcare, insurance, and many more.
At Lifestyles Digital Media Group, excellence is the standard.
Our highly skilled and passionate team knows how to produce content that will resonate with your audience and significantly boost engagement rates.
Let us help you tell your story, connect with your audience, and achieve your business goals.
The team here at Lifestyles Digital Media Group would love to help you get seen, be heard, and make an impact.
So Gavin, being a successful luxury real estate advisor, what would you say are some of the key factors that you would have utilized?
Yeah.
Whether that's speaking to people, knocking on doors, or even utilizing like social media to get out to them. What would you say is some of the success characteristics that you would have utilized?
So I would say, to be considered a key advisor, one of the biggest traits that I believe is a necessity is consistency. And I say consistency for a number of reasons, right? In this space, when people are buying real estate, this is generally their largest investment, one of their largest investments that they'll ever make, right? And when they do that, if you're doing the largest investment in your life, you want to ensure that you are with a trusted advisor, right? You want to ensure that you're working with somebody that has the knowledge, the expertise, the contacts, and the know-how to guide you through that process. You don't want to go to somebody who is a fly by night. Remember, this is the largest investment of your life, generally speaking. Yeah. So you want to be with somebody who's trusted, like it's a very trusted advisor. And so consistency is key. When they want to look for somebody who's in the business. They want to look for somebody who is consistently working in the business, somebody that has a history, somebody that has done deals or closed transactions within the parameters of what they are looking for. Yeah. So it's as simply put, if you have a heart issue, you want to go to a heart doctor. You don't want to go to a chiropractor. Yeah. So you want to go to somebody who you believe has consistent traction, consistent history within that space. The consumer, and especially with the technology, the consumer, one of the first things they do is that if they're looking or thinking about working with you, one of the first things they do is Google, or social media. And so when we talk about consistency, there has to be consistency from the person, from the work of that person, straight through to the brand. And if they don't align, then savvy consumers will see that. Yeah. And potentially you lose that business. And so that is probably one of the biggest things, as I tell agents and myself today, is that you have to be consistent in what you do within this business. Bullshit doesn't work. Bullshit only lasts for so long. So you have to be consistent. You have to be authentic in who you are, what is your brand, and what you're doing. Yes. And yeah.
Now, I would have had the opportunity to we would have had an opportunity to capture some content for you, for your personal brand. And I have to say, I definitely resonate with that And I can see that, or you can speak to it, and you can tell us a little bit about how have you seen working with us or having the content that we've done produced for you, have you seen that that has helped to shift your brand a little bit as far as pushing that ultra luxury real estate presence?
Yes, so it definitely has, and with Corcoran we have a slogan: "Live who you are," and uh, and I love that because that is kind of the brand, my brand, and so what you see is what you get. So what you see on my social media, what you see on my email blast, what you see, that's what it is. That's my life, and it resonates. It resonates with consumers and buyers and clients because it's authentic. As I said, there's no BS there. So that is my day-to-day life. So yes, there are nice trips. Yes, there are speaking opportunities. Yes, there are boats. Yes, there are private jets. Yes, there are penthouses, estate properties, yachts. Because that's the sandbox that I'm in. For the ultra luxury space. And so these are necessities that the ultra, that are or assets that the ultra luxury market and client has, and it's their day to day life. And so, about pulling the brand in is that you have to be consistent with the brand. But as you know, we have worked together, and we've done a lot of stuff together, and it has definitely helped. I do a lot of good things, and having a camera there to capture that and to tell your story is important, and so that's a big part of the brand, is being able to tell your story, and tell your story in the right way, in a high quality way. Yeah.
So, Gavin, we have come up on our time. So I will just ask you, please, to just let us know, so we can speak directly to the camera and let us know where we can find you, how we can reach out to you, your website, your social media. You can let the people know.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me today. You can find me on Instagram at gavman242, or on our website at www.corcoranbahamas.com.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed yet another amazing and impactful episode of Innovators and Impact. This episode, I'm hopeful that you would have been able to attain a lot of the nuggets that Gavin has shared with us. It is always my pleasure to host these episodes for you, and I certainly look forward to hosting again and having another amazing guest such as Gavin. And I really, really hope that everything that he would have said can resonate with you and you can take it home with you. And please reach out to him. He is the expert in the luxury real estate market. And thank you again for watching our episode. God bless, take care, and have an amazing day.